The Stigma Attached to Mental Health by Abby Rivera. When people hear the word mental health, they often think of mental health disorders such as schizophrenia, PTSD, ADHD, depression, or anxiety. But mental health is actually our ability to respond to challenges. These challenges can range from having a sudden encounter with a tiger, having to take an unexpected test, dealing with a bully, finding yourself with a never-ending to-do list, to having an argument with a family or friend. When life throws these challenges at you, whether expected or not, there are often coping mechanisms that can help you get through them. But in our society, few decide to speak up and ask for help because of the stigma that attaches itself to mental health. This project aims to try to find an answer as to why there is a stigma that attaches itself to mental health, despite the fact that 1 in every 5 adults in America experiences a mental illness, and as to why people living in multicultural communities face a higher level of this stigma. The dictionary defines stigma as a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person.
In other words, shame or disgrace that can make people feel excluded. Stigma is a big deal in the US, but especially in communities of color.
Although there are many reasons behind why this stigma exists, Dr. Torres Harding believes that it exists in part because people are afraid of living up to the stereotypes that are placed for them.
Stereotyped as being just not as good, not as smart. Then you don't want to show any weakness. Yeah. Just feel like, that they don't want to seek out services and that there's something really wrong with you if you seek out services.
Others believe the stigma exists because communities of color are largely collectivist cultures, meaning that the people pertaining to these cultures do not want to bring shame to the family and are only looking out for their family's needs and not their own. Because mental health has a negative connotation attached to it, many people, especially those of color, believe that admitting they need help is a sign of weakness. They believe that any challenges that affect their mental health is a challenge that they should be able to handle on their own.
There's this shame that there's this idea that I should be strong enough to get through this.
If you're a strong white woman, get out there and do this and do that. But we have to wear this title and this heavy crown on our head. Okay, I'm the strong black woman, so I can't let anybody see me crumble today, and I can't get to work and cry because I'm a strong black woman. And it's this pressure on us in our community to hold it all together. Don't you cry, and we
Even when people might get connected to a healthcare provider, often the family doesn't understand.
I feel like I could talk to my parents, but I don't think they'd know much about it, but I think they'd be supportive. But I don't think they're well informed at all.
Even though my parents are really open to talk about it, they also can be a little dismissive.
They feel like if it's known that their child is seeking help, that the family will be looked down upon.
Your cultural value, your cultural circle does not afford you the possibility of asking for help. Not being able to even verbalize that piece.
Growing up, I didn't really have that type of a thing where we talked about what depression was. I didn't understand what anxiety was.
Then leads people to very dark corners and very dark places.
This stigma also prevents people from speaking up. In the survey that I conducted that consisted of this Walter Payton student body, when asked if students felt comfortable speaking to their parents, counselors, or teachers about their mental health, more than half of the population fell on the side of the spectrum, leaning more towards not comfortable.
You feel like you're not being supported in this way, so you always see these commercials for mental health, and you always see white people. You don't see people of color. You don't see Latinos. You don't see African Americans. You don't see Asians. You just see white people, and you're like, oh, I guess I can't have that problem. I guess I'm not gonna get that support.
They're afraid of that shame or what's attached to them saying that they have a problem or that they don't feel safe because of what the community and people around them are going to say.
Because this stigma exists, it has caused racial and ethnic minorities to not reach out to mental health services. According to the survey that I distributed to the Walter Payton student body, all students knew where to find their school counselor, but many were not aware of other resources and faculty that are currently available to them if they ever wanted to discuss their mental health.
I actually don't know much about the services. I know we have a school psychologist, but I have no idea where she is.
Actually, I'm not really aware of like who the psychologist is and everything like that, but I imagine that they'd be well equipped. I just the situation has like never occurred to me, and I wouldn't know where to go exactly.